Gonna have to knock some rust off.
Let's hope that is good.
You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, talking to the mic, make sure it's good, at least somewhat talking to the mic.
All right.
Mental Performance Playbook is back, brought to you by the Athlete's Health. Got Coach Fish here, Coach Fisher. Before we go into Coach Fish and his journey and everything else, talking athletics, talking sports, talking basketball, got to give a quick intro to the Mental Performance Playbook and the business, the Athlete's Health that we have here. Because it's been a while. This is version 2.0. Fish, you were one of the first people on version 1.0 when I was just basically doing customer discovery, figuring out stuff, if this could even be a thing. So it's pretty cool to see where we're at now. With that, before we get in discussion, because I don't know who's going to watch this because of you, famous, infamous Fisher, I got to make sure people know where we're at here. So the Athlete's Health started about 2 years ago now at this point. First year was basically customer, like, is this even a thing? You were one of the first people I talked to about this. And then Prairie Basketball, my alma mater, but some great coaches there. I don't remember I think you were maybe heading out at that point. They gave me the shot to like just test this out with them. And we've been going since there. 2026, what is happening? What's coming up? Mental Performance Playbook, this podcast episode, was just a way to get more insight into athletics. Had a lot of college athletes, had a few high school, had a lot of coaches, and then just some other life people. But now it really going to be a way for the Eastern Iowa community, for just Iowa in general, kind of like Iowa sports, to blow up this mental training, blow up the mental side of sports and help out that new era, because it's going to be happening. So what that is looking like right now is we're already with a few clubs. Shout out to them. Team Iowa is a great one. Donnie and Mark, I have to give them shout outs because they have been the first ones who have helped us out a lot. And then there's a few more in the books for 2026 that is going to be rolling out. Schools we're working really, really hard, not just go team wise, but to get in with the whole department with different schools. And then colleges as well. Ideally, be in with the whole state. That's the goal. 2026, will the whole state happen? No, but we're lining up some stuff, so it should be pretty cool. But
Nice.
this is just ways to give out some of these mental exercises so people can hopefully use them and implement them. So we'll see what happens. But that was a long intro, all of it for one last piece. The reason we're doing these is what basically fuels the business right now, and what I want more and more of are these one-on-one coaches or one-on-one coaching training sessions. A lot of people don't know what it is, but we just work online, sometimes in person, but get these mental exercises for specific situations. This is a great way, as we're going to talk about some stuff, we'll twist it into some mental exercises for people to see with some of them, for then hopefully to use some of them, like just try it out and rock and roll with it and see what happens. But have a lot of free resources online. If you can do a free training session, just because it's so new to people. So I tell everyone to try that out. Otherwise, there's parent pieces, there's athlete pieces to go from there. All that, skip that. I'll put the intro. I'll put the tab. How the podcast actually starts at X time. But Coach Fish, thank you for being one of the first guests on, besides just Angie. Give us a breakdown here. I'm gonna give a quick breakdown, but then I want to go more in depth.
Okay.
Assistant coach at College. Baseball seems to kind of be your life, plus golf, plus a few other pieces.
Yeah.
Give us a rundown, who you are, what you're doing, everything else from there, and then we're gonna keep going.
Yeah. So thanks for having me on. Obviously,
of course.
when you texted me a few months ago about an in-person interview and stuff, I was pretty pumped. I remember the first one, it was just over Zoom in my basement, just holding my computer. So you've definitely upgraded a little bit. So yeah, I'm assistant coach at College now. It's my second season there. Before that, I spent, I want to say like 8 years at Prairie. Did sophomore head coach for a couple of years, varsity assistant for a few years.
Some JV too.
Did JV head coach when I was with varsity. Had a lot of fun with that. And then just last year made the jump up to and doing college now, which has been a really fun, new challenge for sure. Glad that I did it. Obviously, miss a lot of the old people and the relationships I built at Prairie, but that's
Yeah.
kind of the part of your journey. You got to branch out and do new things, and that was just a step that I took. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
What's your plan with coaching? Do you plan to do it for
I I
keep it going
always
or
so when I was at Prairie, just I mean, did it on the side. I still just do it on the side too. I mean, I have a full-time job right
yeah.
now outside of it. And because actually, when I first got into it, I just did it for something that was just for fun because I
Mhm.
got asked to do it. Enjoyed it a lot. When I was at Prairie, it was still kind of just something that I like to do on the side. Now that I've made the move to college, I mean, I think it has kind of potentially opened up a possibility to go into it full time. I mean, I kind of like where I'm at right now, which is just kind of part time assistant. But I think there would be opportunity if I wanted to pursue it to get into it full time. Just kind of waiting to see how this season goes and probably next season also, and just kind of see where the life's at.
Yeah.
But I don't know because I really enjoy. I mean, everything about it. So if I did have the chance to do it full time, I mean, I'd have to give it some serious consideration because I remember like when I was a senior in high school and then even a freshman in college and stuff, and early on, how like when you set up an account, you'll have like a security password or a question or something on like if you
Yeah.
make an account on
Yeah.
something. And I remember one of the questions was it was like where you were born, pet's first name, and like your dream job. And I put basketball coach for my
Ooh.
dream job at
Yeah.
that point. And that was just right when I got into it. I just like basketball and stuff. So I mean, we'll kind of
Just
see,
see what time tells, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I've found within that coaching space, and I kinda say what I do is more so like a training. I call it like a strength training. I guess you'd also say strength coach, but, like, I more
Mhm.
refer to that. But I've been working with a lot of different sports, not just basketball. But I have favorite parts in that. Like, then I can learn a lot of different things, about different sports. But one thing I was wondering with you is what are your favorite parts of coaching or basketball too? Because I know you play a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
We play on Sunday mornings.
Mhm.
But what are some of your favorite parts of that atmosphere?
I think I'll kind of go with 2 different answers. With basketball especially, I really like on the basketball side of things, like the strategy and the preparation that goes into each game, So, like, the game plan, watching the film, seeing how your opponent, what they do on offense, how they defend things on defense, and then kind of getting your plan of attack for the game. Like, that was always something that I really enjoyed, just kind of putting in the scout, saying, "All right, this is how we're gonna attack them in certain situations," and then when you see that, you get success of that in the game, it was a really good feeling. So that was, like when I first started, um, that was something that I really enjoy and still do, just because I just love basketball, so being able to kinda prepare for the game, implement that in practice, then seeing the success on it. But then as I kind of got more into it, I think the relationships now, especially now that you're at the college level, just because the kids are a little bit more mature
They're
and,
technically adults.
yeah, I mean, we have some
You want to
22.
pull the mic a little closer to you, like put it that way.
That good?
Yeah, then because it needs to go somewhat. That should be good.
Oh, okay.
You're good. You're good.
Do you want me to restart
No,
the
no, no. You're
Okay.
saying 22.
Alright, so, like, in college, a lot of the guys, I mean, there's just a different maturity level. And so I think the relationships that you can build with the team, because I mean, even in high school, and granted, when I was a high school coach, I was a lot younger. I mean, I started when I was 19. So I actually remember the first year at Prairie, like a couple of the guys that were seniors, like I played a few years with, and they're
Mhm.
like, we just kind of view you as just kind of still part of the team, like a player almost. So the relationships were a little bit different. early on versus how they are now. And I mean, now as I'm late 20s now, so I'm getting up there in age. I think the just being a part of the team, and developing the relationships with the guys is uh, probably my favorite part of coaching now versus just the schematics and all the preparation that goes into it because, uh, I mean, now I see more of just see the value in the actual team itself, whereas, like, when I first started, I mean, I was so focused on, like, "Alright, this has to be the game plan," which, I mean, I
Mm,
still enjoy a
yeah.
lot, but I had never I think I was still so young that I didn't really understand the importance of just the team and a coach-player dynamic and stuff.
It goes to one piece that makes me think of something where when you're first starting at anything, really, we can say a sport or learning a new skill, that you have to micro frame or micro focus on each
Mhm,
little piece. But what you're saying, basically, as you have evolved in your coaching career, and then with the athletes, 'cause we'll tie to the athletes in a second, that evolution has allowed you to see more of a macro scale
mhm,
of the whole game and of the whole thing, because you add the pieces of first, all right, gotta try and win games, or gotta just make sure we can
yep,
coach and have the
yep,
IQ. But then now it sounds like it goes into more the player role and what people probably hear on TV a lot of, like, oh, this guy's not a good fit for the team, or anything, pieces like that. Where now it sounds like that's something else that you're looking at besides just the schematics, because you can understand the game well enough since you've been coaching it so long.
yeah,
Like coaching, you get a whole different perspective, right?
absolutely.
Interesting. What are some of the what are some of the hardest parts then? Those are maybe
Ooh,
the
best
best
parts
parts
of
of
the
the evolution. What are some of the hardest parts that you have going on too?
and I think, this was one of the main differences that I noticed quickly between college and high school, because in high school, you kind of know what you're gonna have 3 or 4 years in advance on what you're gonna have, like, the players on your roster each year, because you can
Mhm.
see who you have as 7th and 8th graders, and you can kind of always be knowing, "Alright, in 2 years, we're kinda gonna look like this. Next year, we're gonna look like this," just because you kinda see what you have coming down the pipeline. In college, just figuring out year to year what your team's gonna look like, who are gonna be, your main guys on the court, who are gonna be your leaders, because your roster changes every single year,
Yeah.
way more so than in high school. I mean, obviously, you have kids, seniors graduate at both levels, but college is all about bringing in new
Mhm.
recruits, new pieces to the puzzle, trying to figure out how the freshmen are going to come in and kind of gel with the guys that you already have established, trying to figure out who's going to contribute to the team each year because there's new roles that open up. So I think that might be the hardest, just trying to figure out how all the pieces are going to come together. And I think naturally, a lot of it just falls into place on its own.
Yeah.
But the quicker you can kind of see it and get a real solid plan on early on who you want in what roles. I mean, it helps the kids a bunch because you can define the roles for them and they kinda know what they
That's
need to
big.
do, but at the same time, you might have one vision for a kid and it might not work out that
Yeah.
that's how it's gonna be. So I think that's probably just the biggest challenge is kind of figuring out how the pieces are gonna fit together each year because there can just be so much turnover.
I think I can take two main pieces out of what you're saying right now that I want to reiterate and put into some things. How we'll take some notes on afterwards to turn into some more exercises, because they're always so customizable to people. Going back to what we were saying of adding on, like building it up, I think that's very important to look at it one piece at a time, or as you're talking about player and development, one piece at a time. But instead of thinking about doing the whole new move or the whole new game plan, but have to walk through the path and figure it out. Because I'm just thinking, okay, if we're training, if you got to get a little overwhelmed or to the next stage, which I'm going to get here in a second, how can you get to that part, get through it the smoothest, and then come out the most professional, best to perform and everything, like all the main outcomes that they want. Still want to have fun, but all the parents I talk to, they're like, no, like we want to win too. I'm like, I get it. I get it. I understand who I'm talking to right now. I understand. That's one piece of that. As you get more into it, the things that you had to think about are don't even have to think about them now, and you can add more for that macro scale, which is getting into this next piece I want to talk to you about. As you were saying, the team is constantly changing, evolution, and scouting people out. One thing I've heard in the past is that it's a big jump from high school to college, and I know because I've seen it time again through different teams I've talked to, as in at the college level, just not even for the business, just pure relationship, that the freshmen come in and sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's a real bad show. It
Yeah.
doesn't turn out how they want it to.
Yeah.
I don't want any specific examples, but have you seen that at all? Do you know how to help that out at all? Like, do you set,
Sure.
like, how do you kind of approach that, especially nowadays
Yeah.
with how everything's shaping up?
I mean, we're so like at Co. I mean, we're D3s, so there's. I mean, in terms of the college level, we're on the lower end, and I think there can be a stigma with like D3 basketball. Oh, anybody can go play D3. I mean, I think just about every guy on our roster was either all conference, all state. Pretty much everybody was the best player on
I've
their team.
I've seen your team. I mean,
So
they yeah, they're pretty
yeah,
big. They're not.
yeah.
It's not like they're
I mean,
small.
we definitely don't have a bunch of slouches. It's not like anybody can just show up and play. Like you still have to be a good basketball player even to play at the D3 level. Um, but I think so. Like the challenges the freshmen face, I think there's kind of two folds to that. The challenges the freshmen face because we have a lot of out of state kids. So the first challenge that they face is just moving away from home and being on their own for the first time. And I mean, when you're 18, you're still kind of a bit of a idiot and stuff. And
Yeah,
we got a couple guys from like Arizona, Colorado. So I mean, even like northern Minnesota to where they can't just go home for a weekend or something. Like they're on their own. They got to figure some stuff
yeah.
out. Got a kid from Texas, so all over the place. So I think the first challenge that they have
That's on your basketball
is
team.
that's on our basketball team. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean,
spread
we
out.
kind of we got plenty of local guys, but also plenty of out of state guys. So I think that's the first challenge they have is just kind of figuring out their uh, life off the court in the classroom, getting comfortable with that. Because if they have all that chaos going around them, like it makes once the season rolls around, it makes that really, really tough because then we're doing stuff every day. And if there's just that cloud hanging over their head about
Hmm.
all this, classwork, what am I gonna eat,
Yeah,
because I gotta do all this
full
for my own
energy.
now. Absolutely. So I think that's like the first problem that a freshman would face. And then the second part is just the level of play at the college level is so much higher than it is at the high school level. Like we don't even have our in our varsity rotation. I mean, that we don't have any of the freshmen that are playing
Yeah.
minutes right now, and we got a lot of freshmen that were really good on their teams last year. But like the speed of the game and the physicality and just kind of the strategy that goes into college versus high school,
Hmm.
it's such a shock for freshmen right away. I mean, unless you have to be just extremely gifted athletically, but then also be able to just mentally process everything that's happened to be able to contribute. And that's with like if you want a really successful team, because a lot of the successful teams are all kind of veteran led, juniors, seniors, upperclassmen. And if you do have a
Yeah.
freshman come in, they're not like big contributors or something, and they're all even the good ones, you still have kind of like a little deer on ice or what kind of just you just look lost at sometimes just because there's so much of a difference between the high school and college game that can be a pretty big adjustment for them.
Hmm. So is it just over time that they get better? Because I've heard other times and instances too where that freshman comes in and they're not happy because they're not playing, and especially now, then they transfer and they get out of
Yeah,
there. But then it's the same outcome wherever they go.
yeah,
Because I followed it once or twice, and this is not just for basketball, but I followed it and then they're still not doing anything. Sometimes
yeah,
it's even worse.
yeah.
Like,
So
Um,
I think a lot of that comes down onto the coaches, like when you're recruiting
that's
a
what I
kid
was
in high
wondering.
school, like you should be really clear with them on what kind of the coaches see as their role their freshman year. Because it's not fair to sell a kid on, hey, you're gonna come in and play right away when that's just not the reality whatsoever for a lot of college athletics. Yeah, I'm at the D3 level. You know, I
Yeah,
mean, it's different. Like in D1 or D2, you'll see freshmen come in all the time and
yeah,
contribute. But like at the D3 level, we're pretty open with a lot of the high school kids that we recruit. Like, your freshman year, you're probably gonna be on the scout team in practice. We have a JV team, and they played like 17 games a year, so that's pretty much all the freshmen and sophomores that don't play. So they're still getting game game reps and getting to compete against other schools and stuff. But we're pretty clear with them and
yeah.
open so that they have that to look forward to, and they don't. I mean, all the freshmen, wherever you are, you're going to be frustrated your first year.
A
But
little bit of
they
a shock.
absolutely. But then you have something to look forward to. Hey, we have our own game, and that's something that, especially this year at Co, we have really good buy-in from
Yeah,
the freshmen and sophomores, those guys that are playing JV right now, and that helps just the mindset of the team is so much more positive because when it starts slipping on the back end and when you have your end of the bench guys and then maybe if they're not even dressing, when they've kind of mailed it in and think, oh, there's nothing to really play for. I mean, that makes practices
that's what I was gonna
really,
say.
really tough because you got half the kids in practice are like saying, screw this, like we don't even want to be here. So
You
it's
need them.
it's just as important to keep those bottom guys engaged as it is, the top of your rotation guys, because ultimately at the end of the day, those are the ones running the scout, pushing those top guys in
You're
practice
only
and
as good
stuff.
as you
It,
can practice,
it,
basically, right?
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think it was John Wooden. He would like he wouldn't even scout his teams. Now this is like 50 years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he just said no. We're gonna solely focus on what we can do and how we can
Hmm.
do it. So like all their team fully bought in, and then they just went out there and won games.
Yeah.
And that was also after like 15 years of coaching and
Hmm.
not hearing about him at all.
Yeah.
But the other one thing that you were saying within that, I should have actually wrote a note or two because I forgot. But what was it? We are talking about scout. It was a good one too. Okay, but so as a coach, you're breaking that down for them. Like you're letting them know
Hmm.
that first and foremost.
Yeah.
I know that was one thing that I wanted to get at. The thing that I was going to say was, um, shoot for the moon, land upon the stars, something like this. If you're, I'm just thinking about this out loud. If you're a freshman going in, you might be good and you might be
Hmm.
playing, but also you could look at this a different way because it's a lot like a lot of kids that I talk to. I'm like, if you are the top fish right there as going in, maybe you want to try and get somewhere else
Sure.
and
Yeah.
work up to be even more. Because like how you're saying, that's what I was going to talk about. A lot of them, if they're coming in, they're getting better. Because I didn't know you had a JV team. I
Hmm.
didn't know that. So
Yeah.
that was what I was going to say too.
Yeah.
But so then they're improving. So by the time, yeah, they are that sophomore upper class, then they can start balling out and they can start using all the things they were saying.
Yeah.
Do most programs have a JV and varsity team? I didn't know that.
So a lot of most D3s, NAIs, even Upper Iowa has a
Yeah.
JV
Huh.
team. So like our JV team at Co, we're playing Upper Iowa twice this year. Where they came down and played us about 3 weeks ago, and we're going up there I think next week or the week after for a JV game. So I mean, it's every team in our conference, the American Rivers, they have it.
Yeah.
Mount Mercy has one. A lot of the local NAIs. I mean, I don't know nationally
Yeah,
what it
no,
looks
no,
like,
you're
but
good.
around here, yeah. Which like I said, it's a great thing to have because it's the best way you're going to get your freshmen and sophomores playing experience if they're not playing
Yeah.
on the varsity team.
Because they still need the experience. Otherwise, when they get in, they
Yeah.
might be a little game shocked.
Uh huh.
And riddle me this: how do you? Because I have some ideas, but I'm just thinking about okay, if I'm going to be working with more athletes, and then I'm going to talk to their parents too, because that's a big part of it. Um, how do you, or how do you guys, your coaching staff, or just any of your history, create the buy-in to get that buy-in? What are some ways that you do it? I know it'll be a little different for parents or the athlete themselves, especially in high school,
Sure.
not wanting to hear crap about anything, especially from their parents. But that buy-in, I think, is big. So, what are some ways that you guys have have created that?
Well, I think it always helps when you have kind of some really good vocal, I don't even wanna say, like, leaders at the top, but just anywhere on the roster, you got really good, just outgoing vocal guys, because like, even, like, our end of the bench guys that don't
Hmm.
play, every game, we tell the guys, "All right, we want you to visualize what your role is. Get ready for what you're gonna do during the game." And a couple of the guys on the end of the bench are like, "Our job is to chirp the other team
Yeah.
and just be positive at the end of the bench." And so it really helps that those guys. I mean, we got outgoing guys who just bring a lot of energy
Hmm.
and love to talk. I mean, they'll say crazy stuff, but even some of the guys that play, I mean, they're a little more outgoing. So kind of, I think one of the easiest ways is just to you find the personalities that uh, are kind of outspoken, you know. So like when we recruit kids,
You help out in the
we
recruiting?
more local
You
stuff,
do some of the local
yeah,
stuff.
do some of the local stuff for Cedar Rapids. But when we recruit kids and bring them in on visits, a lot of the out of state guys will do an overnight visit and they hang out with the team just
Mm.
so that they can kind of get a feel to see how they fit in. Because if you have guys that fit together collectively, the buy-in's really easy then, because they all, especially at the D3 level, most of them are paying to be there. Like, there's not like full
Yeah.
ride athletic scholarships. I mean, certainly might be cheaper for some guys, but all those guys chose to be there, which also helps in the buy-in. But finding guys that fit together early on, because when you bring in a freshman that just fits in with what you already have established, it makes the buy-in super super easy because they view themselves as part of the team. If you're part of the team, I mean, any athlete or person in sports can attest to it, or in a job place, wherever you are. If you feel a part of something,
Yeah.
and you got to get really unhappy to kind of lose that buy-in. So just finding guys that gel together with the core each year, it makes the buy-in pretty easy, to where it doesn't, like, it's not something that you have to work on then. Like, they just
Hmm.
already, if they fit, they view themselves as part of the team, it just naturally happens.
You're looking at it beforehand to make the buy-in be there,
Yeah.
to make it happen,
Yeah.
and then that makes it a lot easier to
Mhm.
have.
Because you don't even, because you want, I mean, there was a couple years ago, there was a transfer that uh Co brought in, and really talented player, but just didn't mesh whatsoever
Mhm.
with the rest of the team, and he ended up leaving after a semester. So you can't just see someone, I mean, obviously super talented player, but didn't fit in with anybody, wasn't really happy with his role. So that's where, obviously, you recruit guys that are really talented at their sport, but you also are recruiting how they're gonna fit in with kind of your family that you have, because the guys that fit in, I mean, it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
It's not something you have to really worry about all that much then.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about it,
Yeah.
basically. You tackle the buy-in up front, make it
Mhm.
easier. One thing within buy-in that I'm thinking about is all the work that has to go into it. This is something I always tell parents and families, and the athletes themselves, like, we can do all this mental work. You still have to do the physical work, like, but this is that cream on top, or it's like just helps you have fun. But one thing with the buy-in is getting all parts together and doing the work. I was thinking about, I recently heard something else about Tiger Woods back in like 2001. Like, there was an article on him. So we'll say, like, just for golf specific, we'll just talk about what he did in
Yeah.
golf life. Um, he was like one of the most dedicated. The reason he was so good was just because he had more swings. and more focused swings, more confident swings, just and practice to then have the game. Tying it back to buy-in. And what I tell a lot of people, because a lot of the athletes I work with right now, they are bought in. Like it's the
Yeah.
families, like it's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're trying to have more fun, but they should be one of the best. But they're just not right now. Get more reps in, like want to make sure you're still wanting to do that. Do you ever have to, or what do you do as a team or for yourself even, do to take some time off? Kind of also asking for myself, because I mean, the time off is playing basketball for 2 hours. That's like an
Yeah.
insane amount of thing for me.
Uh-huh.
So I was working this morning on my phone a little bit. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have been doing that, but I was. But I see that a lot if you're trying to get the buy-in, like you want to go. And I'm talking about like doing 12s, like you're putting in the work. But what do you do as a team or some of your players or you yourself to take a little break? I know for you, you said you have like an actual day job.
Yeah.
Like this is what I'm doing full time right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But your athletes, their basketball's a full time job. We're going to tie this back to the energy in a second, like their energy bank. So taking time off, taking a quick break to instill that buy-in. What are some examples of that?
Yeah.
Long winded.
Sure.
to
Well,
this.
for me personally, and I've told the team that I always tell them that when I show up each day, it's like I feel like I'm on vacation because it's not my full-time job. So it's always like a little positive part of my day, even
Nice.
though I mean it can be really stressful and you're putting in a lot of work. But I just think taking advantage of the days that you have off. So like we were off today. Today's Sunday. We had a game yesterday and we'll have practice the next 2 days. I mean, just really
If you're off, you're off.
if you're off, you're off. Like give it just a mental reset. Like I mean, if you I I wouldn't even say, watch the NFL playoffs or something right now. Like just get your
Yeah.
mind completely off of
We got 49ers starting soon.
yeah. So
Shit.
so there you go. So I mean, I I know that a lot of the team, I mean, they're gonna get together.
Okay.
They'll watch the playoff games. They'll watch, basketball games at night and stuff. So their mind's completely away from college basketball,
Yeah.
uh, which I think is just really key. Because if you're always thinking about it, which is kind of more the coach's job to always, it should always be, it's always in our heads, because our job's to set it up for the players.
Yeah. Set up the pieces, play some chess like my chessboard upstairs.
Exactly. But I think just being okay with taking a mental break for the day, it's no different than if you're training for something, having a rest day just to let your body rest and recover, reset. I mean, it's just there's nothing wrong with taking one day a week and not doing anything related to whatever your sport is or something. You're not going to be losing any ground on anybody else if you take a day off or something,
No.
you know?
So they will do something else with a different sport. The reason I say it is because like I'll even sometimes I haven't been doing it as much, and I've been just straight on doing this. But I'll split my days because I got this from Ed Milet into like 3 days in one, 3 6-hour days. People call me crazy, but I try and make one of them at least only have like an hour of work.
Sure.
Like that's the end of my work day,
Yeah.
and then I'm done to then fully come out of it. But because I think it is very important, like you're saying, it ties back to what we were saying. We were talking about this earlier of that energy of putting. So I say energy because I'm thinking of this conceptually, like your phone battery, and you got energy
Sure.
in it, and that's
Yeah.
how you are. I think I got this from a co-player, actually, Max. You want to have so much energy going into practice, but if you're fully drained or if you're getting drained before it, kind of sucks.
Yeah.
How do you guys, because I can go more in depth of that, but I'll save that for some other time. How do you guys handle that as a coach? Because I think people could take away some pieces from this. If the energy is not energy bank, like if it's just not there, if it's 50% for the day and it's just caught in a lollygag,
Yeah.
and just no matter what, probably not full yelling, maybe yelling a little bit. I don't know.
Sure.
What are you doing for it? What are some ways that you
Well,
can bring
I mean,
trying to help it out.
there's been a couple times throughout the entire coaching career, and I mean, worst case scenario where the practice is just really flat, everybody's drained. At the college level, a lot of times around like finals or something, where the
Yeah,
guys are spending a lot more time studying and they're kind of are stressing out about stuff. Where if the practice just isn't going good, I mean, we'll just end it short.
yeah.
There's no reason to be there if no one's getting anything out of it.
If it's crap.
Yeah, people are just draining their tank anyways. Like there's no need for that. Like I remember did that a couple times when I was at Prairie with Coach Rickerson. We've had a couple times at Cove where it's just like, all right, we've got enough. We've got enough today. Like there's no reason to keep going on. I do think though, as a coach though, but you kind of know when you're in kind of the lull part
Mhm.
of the season where the guys are really grinding and like we'll do some sort of like fun kind of
That's what I was
game or
wondering.
something to start practice just to get everyone's energy and the vibes up because that typically carries over. If you have a really good start to practice, I mean the rest of it's so much easier. So we'll do like ball tag or something where it's literally they just pass the ball around and you got to tag people out. So completely not even basketball related, but just kind of a fun little game just to get them engaged. And, I always stand on the side and laugh because like a lot of the guys are just smiling the entire time because
Yeah,
they're just having fun and they're not thinking about anything else. And that kind of just gets the energy up. So, I mean, as a coach, being able to have a feel for kind of what the mood is of the team day to day, week to week, and just thinking of all right, what can we do at the start of the practice to get everyone engaged? How can we fill their tank a little bit?
yeah.
Because once you have a good start, I mean, the rest of the practice usually just falls right into place. Then
You're making me think of how I usually start my one-on-one sessions. As I say, I got a story with this too. I say, is there any like what's been crazy? What's been something fun that's happened
sure,
at school or wherever? If they're not been at school, just wherever. And the other day, because then it gets the ball totally different topic than either
yeah,
what we're gonna fix or what we're gonna strengthen or what we're gonna do. The other time, sometimes kids are like, oh, nothing, nothing. I'm like, nothing. They're like, no, everything. And I'm like, okay, so what? Give me something before we go. And he's like,
yeah.
6, 7. And I
No,
said, oh no. I said, oh, 6, 7 happened. He was like, yeah. I was like, all right, we'll move on. But
yeah,
it was a classic. You can
yeah.
guess his age too. So guess their age.
I would say that would be well, see, I don't know because
Yeah, I
I
know.
could say be like an 8 or 9 year old, but we also have a couple freshmen that if you accidentally say if you say either of those numbers, like their face just starts looking around. So I mean it could be
They were
any
middle. He
age.
was a middle
Sure,
schooler.
yeah.
He was a
Yeah,
middle
that makes
schooler.
sense.
And I was just
Yeah.
like, all right. That's what we rolled with that the whole rest of the time. He was liking it.
Yeah.
That energy piece, that was the thing that I wanted to make sure we talked about because it goes to the hard parts too. And then the one other thing too that I was wondering is because I know time wise, I know how much time is put into there, but then I was curious to know what the coach does outside of it, what the athletes do. Like what's your extra time spent like going into if we can take a time off, if we can take time away from it for a second, what does that usually entail, or how do you even do that, or more so tell the boys to do it?
Saying like
Like like like you're needing them to take a quick pause,
sure.
just a quick pause, like
Yeah.
because I have some examples. I'll give some examples. A couple of people. I'm not going to say any names here, but some are really high level. Some are no level at all. They're just playing for fun, just want to play. But recently got into some Legos, some high end Legos. To
Okay.
spend their time
Yeah.
building that. I know some play video games. I personally am not a big fan of video games,
Yeah.
but others, maybe they just try and do some other quick sport, like go for a bike ride or something. I was just curious if you do take time away, what do you do? Like I'm trying to think, play basketball.
Yeah.
I play basketball
Yeah.
because I'm across all sports. I'll play
Sure.
soccer, basketball, golf. Try
Yeah.
to get into golf a lot. Break me down one or two things, maybe some what your athletes do or what you do yourself as a coach, because it's constantly running through your head. I know
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I know
So,
it
like,
is.
at Co, a lot of the guys, they've started, uh they do a Madden league together that I think there's probably 12 or 13 of them that they all, like, drafted teams in Madden, and so they'll play, like, a game each night, so there's a little break each night when all of them have to play each other, and then, there's a good group of them also that started up an NBA 2K league that they
Okay.
that they drafted teams, and that's actually that's really good because they pretty much play each night. Like, you'll hear them after practice, "Are you playing Hey, are you playing so and so tonight or whatever? When are you gonna get your game in?" So as long as they're staying up with their studies and homework and stuff, I mean, I think that's a really good way, an hour each night where they're not thinking about the team, but they're still spending time with each other and building relationships. For me personally,
So
I
we got to get
I
enough fishing
I
too.
I know,
The X amount of people who actually watch.
yeah, I don't know, I've got big into running the last couple years, so if I go on a long run, I mean, not so much like a hard run, but just like a long, easy run
Mm.
where you can just kinda whether you put on a podcast or music in your headphones, you just kinda zone out and you just go. A
Yeah,
nice little
get the blood
nice
flowing.
little mental reset. Um,
That's what Phil Knight would always do in Nike.
yeah.
He would always go for a run whenever stuff was going south,
Yeah, yeah.
or any other time, really.
Which I'm which I gotta be and there's some times where, like, I'm able to just zone out, but then there's other times I'm running, I'm like, I got nothing to think of, so I just start thinking of basketball, and
That's not
I'm
bad.
just strategizing stuff the entire time. I mean, I really enjoy golfing and stuff, and that's just something that's really relaxing but still active, so when it's nice out, just going out and,
Mhm.
like, going to the driving range or something because you have a it's a little different, like, if you're riding in a cart or walking, because you have those breaks where, hey, the basketball thoughts might start creeping in your head, but a lot of times, like, at the driving range, you're just focused on hitting balls, and it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with basketball or coaching or anything.
When I'm at the range, I can usually lock in pretty well
Yeah, yeah,
to it, and then hopefully start to get some going. We'll have to golf later on here.
yeah.
I got probably like two more main things, and then
Okay.
we'll see what the conversation takes.
Yeah.
But 'cause I know we got some time, but
Yeah.
this helps me build the repertoire. Helps then other people know what to expect. Maybe some things that they haven't ran into yet. What are some of the because each I've seen it each level in sports. Because I know a few professionals and across different sports. Each level brings different adversities, different challenges. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen now coaching college? Even if it is D3, it's still like we already said.
Yeah.
They could all hoop me up for sure.
Yeah.
So what are that guy, the Mr. Iowa? I don't know why I said Mr. Iowa basketball, but his name is Strong by Science or Strength by
Oh,
Science on
Max,
Instagram. He
Schmarza or whatever.
he
He went
played.
to Co.
He went to Co.
Yeah, he went to Co.
and
Yeah.
and he's like famous
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So but he's awesome. Shout out there, I guess. But yeah, it's challenge. Some of the challenges you've seen. So I'm gonna think about them and I'm gonna be like, okay, how can we tweak those? How can we help those out?
Yeah.
But I wanted to get at least maybe an idea of some that you've seen. Maybe they're not many different at all. I don't know.
Well, I think, like, with the college guys, especially at, like, the lower level, like D3, very few guys are gonna play professionally. I mean, there's we had a guy last year on our team, he graduated, he had the opportunity to go overseas and play, so it's not like there's no chance of it happening.
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys at D3, they're in college to like any other just normal student. They're doing something for their career then after college. And I think even if you're not a player, very few kids go into college knowing exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
So just figuring out, what's my major going to be? I mean, I changed my major 2 or 3 different times, and now I don't even do anything related to my major.
I was gonna say mine
So I think that's kind of the biggest challenge that the college athletes face is just kind of figuring out what do I want to do with my life? Like I don't
Yeah.
want to I don't want to spend this money for just to play basketball. I mean, you obviously want to get something out of it. Like I hear some of the guys stressing at the start of practice, like, "Oh, I got this test. I hate this class. So I don't know." You'll ask them what's your major, and they'll be all pissed off about what they're doing or something. So I mean, it's a stressful time for guys, when you're 18 to 22, because if you can really capitalize on it, I mean, set yourself up
Mm.
pretty substantially for the future. So I think that's the biggest challenge that uh, they face is just figuring out what am I gonna do once I'm done with basketball.
Some of those life pieces.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can't say I can really help out those, but I can actually say something on that. The one of like the main mottos here, like when I pitch, like I have pitch competitions and stuff. Uh, help confidence and handle pressure in sports, comma for life. I think that's a huge thing. The more mental skills or mental exercises I call them that you can adapt, that you can utilize and strengthen through sports a lot of times because you can learn so much from it. And if you can do it the right way and not go to the NFL and then blow all your money like 78% of
Yeah.
NFL players, you can actually utilize it and learn from it. It'll set you up so well. I mean, I think that's why so many athletes end up being really good in sales or getting into anything else that they're doing because they've built all the mental skills, the mental exercises to handle any of the challenges that they face. Because you do, at the end of the day, you either have more points and win, or you have less points and lose, which is something I still like about sports. Where even though I can get PO'd, it still resembles life. As I've been doing all this stuff, like, nope, it either works or nope, they're not taking it,
Yeah.
and you're gone again. So that's why I wanted to hear maybe the hardest thing you saw to see how we can tie it into it. But I think that
Yeah.
kind of sums it up. The more they can learn while they're there
Mhm.
playing basketball and through your coaches, the more they can then go and implement it into whatever
Yeah.
they have next.
Yeah. And I mean, also looking at like stuff they learn, looking at like college athletics and even high school. I mean, if you don't go on and play a college sport, you just learn so much from being a part of a team
Oh yeah.
that can carry over into whatever industry you go into. I mean, just leadership, teamwork, just stuff like that. There's so much to be gained outside of just the physical athletic part of it that
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I think every kid should at least try to play a sport sometime just because of how much you can learn about teamwork and stuff like that.
Oh, 100%
Yeah.
should do some type of
Yeah.
sport. That should be a requirement.
Yeah.
But that's a different topic. All right. Last thing I want to ask you about was because this will tie into something that I think is separating what I'm doing here outside this playbook, but in the actual business. But it gives me more insight, gives people more insight. Is what all? Because I know it's a lot. I know this answer. This is a lot. What all? You don't have to go into too many details. Do you guys track, like analyze? I know. There's a good amount of stuff. There goes the cat. See that? She must have been in there for a while because she didn't come out. At your level, you're coaching. What all are you analyzing? At least a rough. Yeah. Break it down a little bit for me.
Oh boy, I mean, there's all sorts of like in I mean, like in games, there's all sorts of different stuff we track. Like we call them kills, so that's 3 straight stops defensively. We mark down that. We'll track like how many times guys are jumping on shot fakes or something, taking themselves out of position. All sorts of
This is
stuff.
why I want to ask
All,
this
all
because I always learn more stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's so like during the game, we're tracking stuff like that. We get our halftime stats and we look at, turnovers, how many points we have in the paint, stuff like that. Uh, but then also just kind of like, this isn't so much like, written down tracking, but just kind of tracking like how much wear and tear we're putting on the guys.
Mhm.
We got a couple guys that I mean, that one of our guys, I think he thinks he has a torn hip labrum and he's playing through it. Another
Ooh.
one's got some pretty bad tendonitis in his knees. So just managing the workload. So like, well, those guys, will look at kind of how many minutes they're playing during the games, but then also manage them during practice. If you are banged up, not having them go live for a day or something like that. That's probably the main thing. If we were to quote unquote track something, would be just where are they physically?
Mhm.
Do some of the guys need to not like take the full day off, but take a little bit lighter practice? Because if because everyone's on a different level physically, where you can't
Yeah.
just one guy, might never get hurt and might be able to play every minute of every practice and every game and just be good. And there's some guys that their bodies kind of are cursed, and if they did that, they would be completely broken down by the end of each week.
They would not be able to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, okay, cool. Because the reason I was asking you that is because that's as I've researched this more and more and more, I've gathered it more and more and more, that it seems like not too many people track anything because like it's not a thing. All the mental side, the mental load, the mental stress. Where when I've looked across other places, like other businesses, anyone in like in my industry, this industry, they might do like workshops or go and do a talk or do some
yeah,
training, but it's not tracked. That was one of the main things I wanted to do this was make the invisible side visible. And with that comes a lot of data. Because a lot of my research in college, like we were analyzing everything. We were literally analyzing crap. Like we had to scoop mice crap. So because I have a couple conferences I'm going to soon, and this is fresh in my head.
mhm,
But the more I hear this, the more I realize like people aren't tracking the mental side.
yeah,
But if you could, it can make a big
yeah.
difference. We'll
Yeah,
talk. I don't want to talk more about that on here,
sure,
but
sure.
that's what I was wondering that, and I didn't know what else you do. So you do like people jumping for
Oh
pump
yeah,
fakes.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, there's yeah, I mean, all sorts of different stuff. And I think if you were to ask like a D1 coach or something, just because from a resource perspective, I mean, just the staff's so much bigger.
Yeah,
They could be so much more
they
detailed
have
with what
even
they're track. I mean,
more depth.
for the most part at coach, usually a lot of times it's me and two other coaches. So there's only so much we can do and still be efficient with our time and stuff. But yeah, I mean,
Without spending crazy time on it.
yeah, yeah. And being in the moment, still being able to see everything that's happening.
Huh. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, check it. I'm telling you, man, that's why I'm doing this, but
Yeah.
to learn more and to get this going. All right, Fisher, final pieces. What do you have for us? Biggest lesson learned, biggest thing that you'd want people to take away? I know I never tell anyone, but I think that's always what the ending question is. Like, what do you have for people? For the five, for the 50, for the 500 people,
Sure. Sure. You
5 million, Fisher. Get the whole Eastern Island.
something you like something coaching related, basketball specific related. What kind of takeaway do you want?
Right.
Whatever.
Biggest takeaway,
I mean,
biggest
I
lesson
think,
that you
well,
have for
so
people
so you
as I
said
get people
you
in.
said you want this more geared towards parents more so, right? The
Yeah.
podcast, right?
And
So I think that for parents, I mean, like I said, I would encourage all parents to try to get their kids to play a sport or whatever. But I think being okay with just kind of being hands off and letting
Mhm.
your kid kind of find their own way and deal with stuff on their own would be something that's really good for every kid's development and growth. Um, I don't know, that just kinda popped in my head right away because I think sports are such a massive part on how kids can mature and kind of develop on their own and get their own, personal confidence and a voice like that. So, just having the kids take on some ownership of their
Mhm.
own, I think is just such an important way for growth to happen. And also, I mean, it's just so fun to be around a team and stuff like that. I mean, I absolutely love being around the basketball team every day. You just love putting in the work with everybody. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just if I were to have one takeaway or give someone a thought, there's just so many positive things about being a part of a team in athletics that I think everybody should do it and give it a try.
I think your team piece is
Yeah.
huge to find a team, some way, some shape and form, even if it evolves and changes. Then, as for your a little bit more hands off parenting, not to tell people
Yeah.
how to parent, but I'm going to elaborate on that for a second here because I'm not a parent. Not going to be a parent for a while. No. But thing that I've found in research and then just anecdotal by working with a lot of different places and different ages is that helicopter parent. I'm going to say two types. The one that's yelling and berating the whole time is not going to help out. Usually,
No.
not usually at all. Usually hurts a lot more. But then the one who's also doing everything for them, which I think maybe is part of what maybe you're not even saying it at all, but as going back to the freshman piece of transferring in or moving in, they've had everything done for them. They're screwed. They're done. They can't do crap.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I've seen this, and that's a lot of times when I work with them, like, hey, what are you doing on your own? Or most of the parents so far that have been working with us are like, no, I want them to understand this. I want them to figure it out. Like, to see it. I'm like, we got it.
Yeah.
Um, those are the two pieces of the hands off, but the development that I think is huge, and tying that right back into these mental skills or mental exercises and coming out stronger. And one of the reasons why I was doing this was with COVID first starting and with everyone losing all those skills is
Mhm.
develop the skills, get them. Can't even
Yeah.
shake a hand's kid.
Yeah.
Now you can. And now it's almost, which we didn't talk into this at all, but it's almost teetering into the other side of now high school has an NIL. They do. I know it's not really talked about much,
But
but
it's there.
I think in the next couple of years, it's going to be there. It's almost went from, all right, no one knows anything and how to do anything to the ones who build the skills going to get rewarded and everything else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. You got any last minute comments? Anything else? Fisher?
Man, I'm just hoping that I gave a good performance here and
Oh, you did.
gave some good insights. You didn't ramble too much, and hopefully people can have some takeaways from what I was saying.
How can people find you if they got more questions for you?
Man,
Is there a way? Do they just go to Co College? Do you have an email on there?
College, I think my email's on there.
Okay, so you
Or
got
I
an
mean,
email.
just probably add me on Facebook or something and shoot me a message. I mean, that might be the easiest way or something.
We'll go with that Co email.
Yeah.
Second if
Yeah.
need Facebook, but
Yeah. Facebook
just
Messenger. I mean,
type
add
in
me.
Austin Fisher Co
Yeah.
basketball and it'll
Yeah,
pop
it
up.
should pop up.
That's what
Yeah.
I found.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Mental Performance Playbook brought to you by the athlete self. Fisher, appreciate it. Cheers. I forgot to do this, so this is gonna be the thumbnail. That's the thumbnail. But it'll be empty, but
I like that.
that's all I have.
Yeah.
Catch us every couple weeks with these guest episodes.